What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the Halifax explosion. So, as an American, I can tell you that this is not a part of Canadian history that we learn about here in America. Well, honestly, we don't learn anything about Canada here in America, but that's beside the point, because today I want to learn about this event called the Halifax explosion and what exactly happened. So, let's take a look.
On the 6th of December, 1917, two ships collided in the mouth of Halifax Harbour in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Oh my god. That's the event? The entire event is that two ships collided in the Halifax Harbor. This was in 1917. So this was over 100 years ago now. I was kind of wondering about that. Like, is there anybody alive to this day that was alive at the time when this happened? Probably not all that likely. So this was a while ago, but two ships collided? Okay.
The collision sparked a fire on board one of the vessels, a repurposed tramp steamer packed with a cargo of explosives.
What? What? Look at this picture. Oh my god. You know, to be honest, when all you hear about this is just two ships collided, at first you think like, okay, that's bad. That's sad. That sounds pretty bad. But this is a whole nother level. Look at this smoke cloud. That is enormous. What did they say was on the ship? Like explosives were on this ship? Is that correct?
One of the vessels, a repurposed tramp steamer packed with a cargo of explosives bound for the European theatre of war.
Oh my god.
At exactly 35 seconds after 9:04 a.m., this cargo detonated, bringing about one of the largest non-nuclear explosions ever to take place.
What? What? Huh? Seriously? Again. I can't overemphasize. When all you hear about this is two ships collided, and even with the explosives, I was like, ah, man, that sounds bad. How that must have been like a pretty big explosion. Apparently, that's completely understating this. It's the biggest non-nuclear explosion. Am I getting that correct? That these two ships bumping into each other created the biggest non-nuclear detonation ever? Is that right?
Out one of the largest non-nuclear explosions ever to take place.
What?
Halifax.
What? I'm sorry. I don't mean to pause this too much, but it's like, I just what? What was on that ship? What were these explosives? Like, what were that? This is such bigger scale. Like, even when you hear the word, the Halifax explosion, you're like, okay. You think about like an explosion, I don't know, like in a World War II movie, like a tank exploding. It's like, oh god, that's scary. This is like an entirely different level than I ever could have imagined.
Halifax Harbour is a large, natural harbour on the Atlantic coast of Canada.
Okay, yeah.
It consists of a huge enclosed bay, known as the Bedford Basin, as well as a slender strait, known as the Narrows.
This is good. So this is the Halifax Harbor. Never seen this before. So this is like a nice little bird's eye view of the area. And so ships are like sailing in and out of this harbor. Okay.
Which leads out towards open ocean, passing a few small islands on the way.
Okay.
On one side of Halifax Harbour, in 1917, was the town of Halifax.
Oh, right.
On the other side stood Dartmouth. Between them, the two towns had a combined population of around 65,000 people.
65,000 people. You know what? I'm getting nervous because it's like we're starting to talk about the nearby towns and cities, the people, 65,000 people. I actually, like, at the beginning of this video, I was thinking, did this hurt anybody? It killed the people on board the ships, I imagine. But now I'm starting to think, this is the biggest non-nuclear explosion of all time. Did this actually, like, affect the surrounding area? Like a small nuclear detonation? Is that... I just can't believe that. From a couple of ships?
This population had recently grown. The ongoing First World War made the harbour of great strategic importance.
Okay.
It was a key departure point for convoys of ships bound for Europe.
Okay.
It was an incredibly important port, and was thus busier during the war than it ever had been before.
Oh boy. Okay.
A few days before the disaster, the Norwegian ship, the SS Imo, arrived at Halifax harbour and docked in the Bedford Basin, where it sat for several days awaiting supplies.
Okay, so this is like the build-up. This is the story behind how this all came to be. There's a Norwegian ship randomly taking dock in the harbor. Okay, innocent enough.
Some of these, namely the ship's required load of coal, were delayed. Although cleared to leave on the 5th of December, the Imo didn't complete loading until too late in the day to depart. Submarine nets, designed to protect the ships at anchor in the Bedford Basin from attack by German U-boats, had been raised for the night.
Oh, wow.
And
okay, so we're setting up this situation. It's already kind of unlikely that this happened, it seems, because this Norwegian ship just so happened to delay getting the necessary coal so it could, like, leave and go home. It's being delayed, abnormally so.
For no ship could pass in or out.
Okay.
Although anxious to get underway, the crew of the Imo would have to wait until the next morning.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the French cargo ship, the SS Mont Blanc, was in a similar predicament outside the harbour.
Oh.
It had arrived too late in the day to be allowed to enter the Bedford Basin, and so was forced to wait outside the harbour until the submarine nets were lowered again the next morning.
So, these are the two ships in question? It's a Norwegian ship and a French ship, destined to somehow meet each other? I mean, just knowing that, do they contact each other in the harbor? So that means some kind of major screw-up happened, or some kind of error, or... The fact that both of these ships were delayed from their normal schedule already, like, kind of shows this event is kind of a freak of nature that this series of events happened.
The crew of the Mont Blanc would no doubt have preferred to spend the night with the ship moored safely inside the harbour, especially considering the cargo it carried. On board was a staggering amount of explosive materials, including TNT, gun cotton, picric acid, and barrel upon barrel of tar-like benzol.
Oh my god. So the French ship, why does it have all this? What's going on? What are they doing? What's the story? Why do they got all this explosives? 4 different types of explosives all on one ship? Is that even... I wonder if the standard practice has changed since this. Like, maybe there's only so much explosive material you should really ever be carrying in one place at one time? But, oh my god, this ship is a literal moving nuclear bomb, I guess.
Whatever fears the crew of the Mont Blanc might have had, the night passed uneventfully.
Okay.
At 7:30 a.m. on the morning of the 6th of December, the submarine nets were lowered, and both ships started moving once more.
All right.
The Imo heading out of Halifax harbour, and the Mont Blanc heading inwards.
Okay.
Normally, ships passing through the Narrows were expected to stay on the right, and to adhere to a speed limit of just 5 knots.
Yes. Yes. Oh god, I know it's coming. Like, the title gives it away, the Halifax explosion. I know it's coming. You're supposed to... Okay, Norway is going out. French are coming in. You're supposed to stay on the right-hand side, like driving a car. You're supposed to go slow. So, what goes wrong?
The pace of a swift jog. On this particular day, though, the captain of the Emo was so keen to get moving that he ignored the speed limit and surged into the Narrows at a much faster speed.
Wait. The captain of the Emo. The Emo. Which one is the Emo? I'm sorry. This is important. Because I think that's the Norwegian ship is the Emo. Because if you're the French ship and you're like, we're late, let's book it, and you're carrying like 1,000 megatons of explosives, that's just not okay. That's just there's no scenario where that is sound judgment. But I think it's the Norwegian ship that's going much too fast than you're allowed.
At this point, the Emo encountered two other vessels, one after the other. First was the SS Clara, an American tramp steamer, coming into the harbour on the wrong side of the Narrows.
Oh.
The two boats signalled to one another, and the Emo ultimately moved towards the middle of the Narrows to avoid a collision.
This is crazy. This story. Because so many little things have to go wrong. So many little things. So this is the second thing. First, both ships are behind schedule and forced to stay the night. Now they're trying to get going. The Emo is going too fast. Actually wouldn't have been a problem normally. But an American ship, the Americans, no! No, are we responsible? Are we in part responsible for the Halifax explosion? No, not me. Quit looking at me. I didn't do it. It's not me. Whoever was on that American ship, they were in the wrong part of the harbor. Why? They're on the wrong side of the road. What are they doing? So American of them. Then the Emo has to maneuver around the Americans, putting them in the center of the harbor, whereas you're supposed to be on the right. Oh, boy.
Moments later, the Emo encountered the tugboat Stella Maris, which was travelling down the centre of the strait. Again, the Emo moved aside, this time going from a position near the middle of the Narrows to completely the wrong side.
Can you believe this? Canadians out there. I assume you learn all about this incident, but for listening to this for the first time, this is crazy. Like, you can't even make this up. First, they have to move center to avoid the American ship. Then they have to move all the way to the left side to avoid a random tugboat. It's like, get out of the way. Move. What are you doing? What a terribly unfortunate series of events. How unlucky.
That was how the Emo came to be on a collision course with the inbound Mont Blanc.
Yeah.
The two ships sighted one another when they were still more than 1.2 kilometres, around 3/4 of a mile, apart, and began a series of frantic signals.
Oh, God.
The Mont...
Oh, no. They see each other. They're still like a kilometer apart or something. There's time, but I'm just visualizing them like frantically like waving, like, go right. And then it's like, no, you're right. No, left. But we're both going left. Oh, no. And it's just, oh, my God.
The Mont Blanc had right of way, but the crew of the Emo, for whatever reason, indicated that they would not yield. When it
I'm sorry. I don't mean to stop this every 2 seconds, but it's crazy. This is crazy. It's madness. Not figuring out how this happened. Oh my God. So the Emo had right of way. I guess if you're leaving the harbor, you get right of way. It's literally like driving a car. There's rules. And for whatever reason, the Mont Blanc, or the French ship with all the explosives, is like, no. Excuse me, it'd be French. It'd be no. We are not moving. What is that about? Is this a miscommunication? Like, God, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but... Or perhaps just a lack of knowledge on how this is supposed to work? So now they're just heading towards each other, and it's like both ships think, they're not supposed to move or something.
Reason indicated that they would not yield. When it
Wow.
became clear that the end result of this game of chicken would be a catastrophic collision,
Yeah.
both ships cut their engines.
Oh god. It's
The
too
Mont
late.
Blanc tried to steer around the drifting Emo, and might have made it had the Emo not reversed its engines at exactly the wrong moment.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is too much. This is too much. You can't make this up. Can't make it up. So, interesting enough, after a while, the ships got so close to each other that they're like, okay, and they finally gave up their pride, and they were like, all right, we're literally gonna crash if someone doesn't move. And so they both, it literally, like I was joking about, where they both moved in the same way, in a sense. Like the Norwegian ship tried to go around, and the French ship like threw it into reverse and just perfectly matched the Norwegian ship's movement. This is crazy that this happened. This actually happened. This is a crazy series of events.
Might have made it had the Emo not reversed its engines at exactly the wrong moment.
Oh god.
The effect of this was to cause the nose of the Emo to swing into the hull of the Mont Blanc.
Wow.
The collision took place at a relatively low speed, and although quite damaging, did not immediately scuttle either boat.
Wow. So they've collided. It's at a low speed. It's not at all what I was imagining when I heard, like, in the beginning, when they're talking about two boats collided into each other, creating the biggest non-nuclear explosion. I expected them to just, like, barge into each other. High speed, just like, boom, kaboo. It's like, no. It actually happened at a, like, frustratingly low speed, where they were trying to get around each other, and they're just doing this dance. Like when you're trying to walk around somebody going down a hallway, and they're on the same side as you, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go this way, and then they go that way, and you're like, oh no, I'll go right, and then they go right, and you're like, and then you're just like you're basically like touching each other at that point, and you're like, oh god, okay. That's what happened with these two ships. I don't mean to like make light of this situation or joke about it, but it's just kind of nuts how that happened. So they've collided into each other at a relatively low speed. And I don't know. Something's about to happen. They've just crashed into each other. But I've realized this video is going on for a very, very long time. We're actually like a third of the way done. I didn't realize what a long, amazing, terrifying story this was going to be. So I think I'm going to have to stop here for now, for the sake of time. But I look forward to continuing this in part 2. So if you've enjoyed this so far, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on the Halifax explosion, the crazy series of events that caused this to happen. That'd be really interesting to hear about, or any other insights you might have as a Canadian. And if you're interested in part 2 of this, or just more videos like this in general, me reacting to Canada and learning about Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.